In this tutorial, we're going to design the pages of the website with the Elementor plugin. It all works the same as creating the header and the footer with Elementor, as I showed you in the previous tutorial, and I will show and explain all the steps in detail so that you can follow exactly what I do and do it yourself, even if you have no experience at all. And I want to start off with the homepage. So to design the homepage, I first go to the WordPress dashboard, then I go to the pages section on the left by clicking on it. And now we see the pages that we have created earlier in a previous tutorial. Hover over the home page, click on edit, and after that you can click on the edit with Elementor button to open the editor. Now we see a blank canvas with the header at the top and the footer at the bottom. If you want to adjust something in the header or the footer, you can do that by first clicking on the orange tabs edit header or edit footer, as I mentioned in the previous tutorial. After you have clicked on one of those tabs, you will be able to edit the sections, columns and widgets on the canvas. In this tutorial I want to show you how to design the homepage completely from scratch, but you also have the option to import nice looking templates that I quickly want to show you. And now I select the tab to edit the page again. You can import a template by clicking on the folder icon. Over here under the Pages tab you will find all templates of complete pages. There are free templates, and the ones with a Pro mark are only available if you have the Elementor Pro version. There are a lot of templates available, and there are also different templates for pages in the same style, so that you already have the basis for a complete website. If you're looking for separate sections, you can also use the Blocks tab. At Category you can also filter on specific building blocks. I often use these designs for inspiration, and you will see that there is a lot of choice, and I'll quickly show you a few categories to get a good impression. At the category single product, you can add beautiful building blocks for product pages for a web shop. Because with Elementor Pro, you can also easily create a complete web shop. That's also something I want to make a separate tutorial about later, so stay tuned for that. And other categories that I often use are the single post, that's this one over here, and also the single pages category. So my advice would be to check out for yourself all the options that are available. And you can also learn from templates by seeing how the widgets have been modified in the settings after you have imported the template to the canvas. For the header and footer, I used templates that I customized afterwards, but like I mentioned, in this tutorial I want to show you how you can create your own design completely from scratch. And the first thing I do is click on the gear icon in the left of the bar at the bottom, and over at the page layout option I make sure it is set to Elementor full width. After that's done, I click on the icon with the plus sign. Now you can add an empty section to the canvas, and there are also a few options for the number of columns in the section. I now click on the option with one column, and it works exactly the same as with the header and the footer, so you can select a section, column or widget by clicking on it or by using the navigator. And the first thing we're going to do is add a heading widget. And if you don't see the widget yet, on the left side of the menu you can click on the icon with the 9 dots in the top of the menu. Now an overview of all the widgets will be displayed on the left side. At the top you see the heading widget, and we can drag it into the column that we have just added to the canvas. Now we see the default settings for the heading widget, and we're going to customize that, and we're also going to add a nice background image with an overlay color to the section. I'll start with the background image, and I want to add this at the section level, so I select the section. Now I go to the Style tab and click on the first icon, Classic. Now you will see a box with a plus sign, and you can click on it to choose an image. If you already have an image uploaded to the media library, you can use that, or you can click on the Upload Files tab and then drag an image over there. I select this image and I make sure something relevant for SEO is entered in the empty fields and also in the title field, and by that I mean relevant keywords that your target group is searching for. And with some basic keyword research you can get great insights on which keywords are the best to focus on. I explain everything about SEO and search engine optimization in another video. Because for now I want to start with the basics, and that is making sure the website is completely ready. After the fields have been filled in, click on Insert Media. The image is not clearly visible because the height of the section is not set properly yet. To do this, we go to the Layout tab of the section and choose the minimum height option at Height. Now you can set the height yourself with the slider, or you can enter a value in this field. By the way, if you choose the Fit to Screen option, the section will always be exactly the height of the screen. I choose the minimum height option again, and I set it to 550 pixels. Now I go to the Style tab, and here I set the size to cover, which is the option I always use for this. Now I go to the Positions option and I choose Center Center. This places the image exactly in the middle. The next thing I'm going to do is add a background overlay color. You can see the option already in the Style tab. So expand the menu and choose the left icon, which is the classic option. Pick a color you want, and I'll pick black. And I leave the opacity at 0.5, but you can of course also adjust this if you want to do that. So now I'm going to adjust the heading widget. The text color should be light because now it's almost invisible. So I click on the heading to select it and go to the Style tab and choose the color white. Now that's done, I choose another font in the typography option and I choose the Play Fair display font. I want the text to be displayed a little bit larger, so I set the size to 70 pixels. Now we go to the options below and here I set the weight to bold. Then I set the letter spacing to 2.3 so that it's slightly wider and it's the same as in the logo. Now I go back to the first tab, the content tab, and over here I set the alignment to the center. I also always set the H1 tag for the first heading that's at the top of the page, and this is important for SEO. Now I change the text to luxury watch brands. It's already starting to look good, and I also want to add a text widget below the heading. And you can add a new widget to the column again by dragging it from the left menu. I'll show it again, so I click on the icon with the 9 dots, and now I drag the widget, the text editor, below the heading. I will first adjust the color by going to the Style tab, and at text color I choose a light gray color. And now in the alignment option above it I also set it to center. Now go to the icon at typography to adjust the font, and here I choose the Rubik font. I set the size to 15 pixels, and after that's done I set the weight to 600. In the transform option I choose uppercase so that all the text is capitalized. Then I set the line height to 1.2. In the option below letter spacing I set it to 8 so that the text becomes slightly wider. I now go back to the first tab, the content tab, and adjust the text to search. So now I want to add a search form widget to the section. So I go to the overview with the widgets, and in the overview I search for the search form widget. Now I drag it into the canvas under the gray text. This widget allows visitors to enter search terms so that they can search for relevant information on your website. We will also customize this widget, and on the content tab I set the skin to minimal, and then I make the size at the bottom of the menu a bit smaller and I set it to 35. Then I go to the advanced tab, and at margin I add 20 pixels in all fields. So now it already looks a lot better. So now let's see how it looks on tablet and mobile devices, and also check if we have to make any adjustments to make it fully responsive. So I click on the icon with the 2 screens at the very bottom, and then a gray bar appears at the top of the screen with 3 icons. As mentioned in the previous tutorial, it's the best to work from the larger screen to the smaller screens. So therefore I choose the middle option now, and that's the tablet view. The size of the heading is quite large, so I want to make it a bit smaller. Just to be clear, all the adjustments that you make at the tablet level have no effect on the desktop settings. So you can customize the widgets, columns and sections for all devices separately. I select the heading and go to the Style tab, and here I set the size to 50 pixels. And now I select the text editor widget with the gray text, go to the advanced tab, and there I set a margin of 10 pixels in all the fields so that there is a little more space between the heading and the text editor. I also have to do this for the desktop view, so I switch back to the desktop view by clicking on the icon and make sure that 10 pixels are also added over here in all the fields. Now I go back to the tablet view and the text is now okay, only I want to make the height of the section a bit smaller. For that I select the section, and on the first tab layout you can adjust the height at minimum height, and I set it to 450 pixels. Also for tablets the section is now completely done, and now I click on the mobile icon at the top of the gray bar to switch over to the mobile view. Here everything is looking good. I just want to adjust the height of the section, so I select the section, and on the first tab layout you have the option minimum height, and here I set it to 380 pixels. Of course you can decide for yourself what height you like. And now we're completely done with the first section for the homepage. And even though that I show you and explain everything very calmly, you can see that it can go pretty quickly. And after you have done this a couple of times and know how to learn to use the software, and you can find everything on autopilot, then you can really create beautiful designs very quickly. And now I'm going to add a new empty section again. And I do this again by clicking on the purple plus sign at the bottom of the canvas. Here we're going to create an overview where the last blog posts are automatically displayed. You only have to set this up once, and every time that you create a new blog post, it will be automatically added to the overview that we're going to create in this section. And I want this section to have one column, so I select that option, and the first thing I do is make the background of the section black. So I select the section and adjust the color again by going to the Style tab and then at the background options, and here I click on the classic icon and then choose the color black. On the first layout tab of the section, I also adjust the height to minimum height and I set it to 500 pixels. Now I want to add a heading, so I go to the widget overview and drag another heading widget into the empty column. Now I go to the heading in the first section and I right click on it and choose the copy option. Now I go back to the default heading, right click on it and then click on paste style. So now that's done, I want to make the text size a bit smaller. And to do this, I select the widget and go to the Style tab and then over to Typography. And for desktop, I set this to 50 pixels. And then I go to the tablet view and I set it at 40 pixels and also for mobile view. Now I want to change the text of the heading and I'll change this to latest post. Now I want to duplicate the gray text widget from the first section using the right mouse button and then the duplicate option. I drag this under the heading in the second column and then I adjust the text to news and reviews. And now we're going to add the next widget to the section, and that's the post widget. So go to the overview with the widgets and search for post, and do not choose the option with the WordPress logo but the one below it. You can only use this widget with the Pro version of Elementor, and this was also a reason for me when I first started out with making websites to actually purchase Elementor Pro. And you will see how cool this widget is in a few seconds, so let's go on. But before I start customizing the post widget, I want to add some extra space at the top and bottom of the section. So I select the section and go to the Advanced tab, and at padding I click on the link values together icon to disable it, and then I enter 100 pixels at the top and also at the bottom. And now that's done, I go back to the post widget by selecting it. And you can see that the posts that I've created in a previous tutorial are already displayed, and also with the images that I've set as the featured image for that post. In the menu on the left you can select a layout at the skin option, but I usually just use the classic skin. You can also indicate how many columns should be visible and how many posts should be shown in this overview. I'm leaving this all as it is, and now it's only showing 3 posts because we haven't created any more. But if you add new posts over time, they will also be added to this overview with a maximum of the 6 latest posts. And of course you can also change 6 to any given number that you want, so you can decide for yourself how many posts you want to display in this overview. And below that you see the image size option, and I adjust this to medium large, and this will make the quality of the image a little better. The next thing I do is adjust the image ratio to 0.56 because this makes the image completely visible. You can leave all the options as they are, and over at the metadata you can indicate what should be placed under the title. I'm removing the comments and the date for this tutorial. Now I go down and expand the query options, and there you can set which posts should be shown. For example, at source you can select pages or make a selection manually. I'm leaving this on post because I want all the posts from all the categories to be shown in this overview based on the date that they have been created. Now I go to the Style tab and then to the box options. There I set the border width to 2, and at the bottom you see the option border color, and there I set the color to white. Now I go to the padding above, and there I set it to 20. Now it's already starting to look like it, but I still have to style the text a little bit. And to do this I go to the content options below and expand the menu. We'll start with the first option, and that's title. Here I set the rubric font with a weight of 600. Then I adjust the line height to 1.2 and I set the letter spacing to 2.3. Now I go to the spacing option below typography, and there I enter 20 in the field, or you can use the slider to add some space under the title. Then I adjust the color to white, and now the title is ready. Now I move on to the read more options at the bottom. I first adjust the color to gray, and then I change the font to rubric and set the size to 20 pixels. I set the weight to 600. The next thing I want to do is add a button with a link to a page where all the blog posts are displayed. Go back to the overview with the widgets in the left menu and drag the button widget below the post widget in the same column. Now I need to style the button a bit, and I'm going to add some space at the top of the button first. Make sure you have the button selected and then go to the Advanced tab Click on the icon so that you can edit all the fields individually and enter 60 at the top margin. Now I go back and here I choose the center option at the alignment settings. At link you can enter any link. This can be a link from a page or a post from your own site or an affiliate link or a link to another website. And if you want to change the text in the button, go to the text field at the top and enter something like view all posts. Then I go to the style tab and at the typography options I adjust the font to Rubik and I set the size to 16 pixels. The weight I set this to 600 so that the text is clearer, and at the transform option I select the option uppercase and this already looks a lot better. Now in the left menu we go down to the options for text color and there I choose the color black. Then I change the color of the button to white. The next thing I'm going to do is add a hover effect so that the button changes color when you hover over it. Click on the hover tab and change the text color to white and the button color to the same color green as in the button in the footer. You can also add a cool hover effect to the button at the hover animation option. There I choose the grow option. And if you now hover over the button on the canvas, you can see how the hover animation is working. And if you want to, you can also set the size of the button at the padding options at the bottom in the style tab. Now click on the icon to unlink the values and then enter 15 at the top and the bottom padding. And after that I enter 45 at the left and also at the right side for the padding. So now that's done and the button looks a lot better if you ask me. I'm also going to add a white border above the section, and to do this you have to select the section and go to the style tab, then go to the border option and at border type choose the solid option. Now disable the icon and enter 2 pixels at top width. And after that I change the color to white. The section is now ready and we only need to check if any adjustments need to be done to make it fully responsive. So I click again on the icon with the 2 screens at the very bottom to switch to the responsive mode if you haven't opened it already. Or if you already opened it, you can just click on the middle option for the tablet view. And I'm actually quite happy how it looks already. I just want to add some extra space to the sides of the section. And therefore I select the section and then go to the Advanced tab. At the padding options I fill in 20 pixels for the left side and I do this also for the right side, and at the top and bottom padding I fill in 100 pixels. If you want you can of course make adjustments by adding or removing some extra space, but I like it how it is right now. Now I click on the mobile icon in the gray bar to switch over to the mobile view. Here I want to make the space on the sides of the section a little wider. Therefore again I select the section and go to the Advanced tab, and now I click on the icon to disable it, and at the top and bottom I now fill in 40 pixels and at the left and the right side I fill in 10 pixels. After that click on the green update button to save all the settings, and now we switch back to the desktop view. Now I'm going to create the next section, and to save time I'm going to duplicate the section that I've just created. And to do this I click on it with the right mouse button and then select the duplicate option. Now I want to make a section with brands of well-known luxury watch brands with some affiliate links in it. In another video I showed you how a similarly website makes tons of money from affiliate revenue and ad revenue. If you want a good example on how to monetize your own website, you can check out that tutorial. So now I want to add a section with affiliate links on the website I'm making for this tutorial on the homepage in a quick and easy way. So that's what I'm going to do now. First I adjust the text in the heading to something like buy online. Then I go to the text below and I change this to find the best price. I'm going to make the background color of the section white, but before I do that I first make the text buy online black by going to the style tab, and then I select the black color. And now I select the section and go to the style tab, and at color I now select the white color. And the next thing I want to do is make the border around the button black, so therefore I click on it and go to the style tab and I set the border type to solid. The color is automatically black, but you can also change that, but I'll leave it as it is. And now I go to the hover tab, and over here I also set the border color to black. And the next thing I want to do is add a shopping cart icon to the button. And to do this I go to the content tab, and at the icon option you will see 3 icons. The first is default and does not show an icon. The second is if you want to upload an icon yourself. And the third option is for the icon library. If you click on the third option, you will see an overview of all the different icons that are available. You can also use the search bar to search for an icon. So I do that and I search for shop. And then I choose the shopping cart icon and I select insert. Now you see that the icon has been added to the button. Now I will adjust the text of the button in the text field at the top of the left menu. And I'll change this to something like shop now or something like that. And now I want to display an overview of several watch brand logos and then place a button for each brand below it. And the question now is, how do we get, for example, 3 logos next to each other in one column? Because the way how Elementor works is that if you add multiple widgets to one column, they will always be placed below each other and not next to each other. And the solution to this problem is a widget that's called the intersection. And now I'm going to add this to the column. So therefore I go to the overview with all the widgets and I choose the intersection at the top and I drag it into the column above the button. The intersection now has 2 columns, but I want to add a third column. So I click on it with the right mouse button and then select the duplicate option. So now we have 3 empty columns placed next to each other inside the intersection, and that is placed inside this column. So now I'm going to start with designing the first column of the intersection. So therefore I go to the overview with the widgets and I select the image widget and I drag it into the column. After the widget is added, I go to the content tab and over there I click on the gray box. And now I go to the upload files tab and there I drag 6 logos of different watch brands into the field at once. And now I'm going to select the first logo, and that's the Rolex logo, and I fill in the fields with the text buy Rolex watch or something like that. And I also copy that into the empty fields, and after that click on insert media to add the image. Now I drag the button below the logo in the first column of the intersection. I want to remove the space at the top of the button, so I select the button and I go to the advanced tab, and there I remove the top margin by setting it back to 0. I want to make the logo a bit smaller, so I select it and go to the style tab and set the size to something like 245 pixels. And to save time we can now duplicate this column, but first I remove the 2 empty columns by clicking on it and then select the delete option, and after that's done I duplicate the remaining column twice. You can replace the image very easy just by clicking on the image and then go to the content tab, click on the image and then select another image. You can fill in the fields again, and after that's done click on insert media. Now I also do this quickly for the third image, so I click on it, go to the content tab, click on the image and select a new one. Then I fill in the fields again, and after that's done I click on insert media. So now this first intersection with the 3 watch brand logos is completely done, and we can also duplicate the entire intersection by right clicking on it and then select duplicate. Before replacing the images I want to add some more space above the second intersection, so I select it and go to the advanced tab and I add 40 pixels at the top margin. That seems sufficient and it also looks a lot better. So now I'm going to replace the images in the same way as I did with the first intersection. So I click on the first image in the second intersection and I go to the content tab, I click on the image and I select a new logo, and the logo for this one is this one right here. I fill in the fields again, and after that's done click on insert media. Now I repeat the same steps for the second image, so I click on it, go to the content tab, click on the image to select a new one, and now I pick this logo, fill in the fields again and click on insert media. And now it's time to repeat the same steps also for the third image, so I click on it, go to the content tab, click on the image to select a new one. Now I select this logo, I fill in the fields and also click on insert media. So now the second intersection is also completely done, and the only thing you should do now is paste your affiliate links from Amazon or another affiliate network in the fields for the buttons. And adding a link to a button is just a matter of clicking on it, go to the content tab, and over at the link field you just fill in the affiliate link and that's it. And a smart thing to do to increase the chance of getting more clicks on your affiliate links is by also adding it to the logo. The only thing you have to do is select the logo, go to the content tab, and over at the link options you can set it to custom URL, and after that's done, you can fill in your affiliate link. So once that's set up, visitors will be directed to your affiliate link whenever they click on a logo. So that's how it works, and of course for this tutorial I'm not going to add any affiliate links because this website is only made for this tutorial, but I think you get the point. So now let's have a look at this section on the tablet and the mobile view as well. So therefore you can activate the responsive mode if you haven't done it already by clicking the icon at the bottom with the two screens. And after that's done, the gray bar will appear with the three icons for the desktop, tablet and mobile view. Now I click on the tablet view, and over here everything looks fine, so we don't have to change anything here. And now we switch over to the mobile view, and the only thing I want to adjust here is set the margin of the second intersection to 0. So I select the second intersection, go to the Advanced tab. Now I click on the icon behind the margin to restore the values, and now there's the same amount of space between all the buttons and the logos. You could possibly add a little more space if you would prefer that, but for now I'm fine with everything how it is. And now I switch back over to the desktop view again, and now I delete the post section by clicking on it and then select delete. And now it's time to create the last section for the homepage, and in this case I will make an About Us section. So now I right click on the section that I've just created, and then I select the duplicate option. From the duplicated section I remove the two intersections by clicking on the cross icon. I change the title to About Us just by clicking on it and entering different text. And in the text editor below I change the text to something like, "You know what time it is, we keep you updated on the latest news and special offers and reviews for exclusive luxury watch brands for men and women." Now I'm going to adjust this widget, so I select it and go to the Style tab, and I change the color to black. Now I click on the icon at typography and I adjust the weight to 300. At the transform option I change uppercase back to default, and then I go to line height and I set it to 1.2, and I also do this for the letter spacing. The next thing I want to do is place a button below the text that can link to the About Us page that I will create later. So I duplicate a button from the section above with the right mouse button and then the duplicate option, and then I drag it below the text. I also want to change the button a little bit, so I select it and go to the Content tab, and then I remove the shopping cart icon by selecting the option None. Now I adjust the text in the text field to Read More, and at the link option you can add any link that you want to, and in this case it's for the About Us page, so I add this URL. And now that's done, I go back to the Style tab, and there I make the text color white and I change the background color to black. So the button is now ready, and now I want to add an image to the background of the section, and to do this I select the section and go to the Style tab. Then I click on the gray box next to image and I click on the image that I want to use. Of course you can fill in the fields again, and after that's done you can click on Insert Media. Now you see that the image has been added, but the text is not longer clearly visible. That's why I'm going to add a background image overlay, and I do this at the background overlay options, and I click on the icon for classic, and then I choose a color. I choose white, and after that I set the opacity to 0.80. I also think it would be nice if the image would be displayed in the center. So I go to the background option, and at position I select the center option. So now you can see that it looks a lot better. Now I go over to the size option and I set it to cover. It also would be nice to add a black border to the top of the section. So therefore I select the section and go to the Style tab, and over at the border options I set the color from white to black. I also want to make the section a little bit bigger, so therefore I go to the Layout tab, and then I set the minimum height to 550 pixels. Now everything is looking good on the desktop view, so let's switch over to the tablet view, and this also looks good, so we don't have to change anything. And now we can switch over to the mobile view, and this also looks fine. So just to be sure, I also checked the different mobile formats with the drag function, and as you can see everything is properly responsive. Now I switch over to the tablet view, and over here I also use the drag function to see how the design is on all the different tablet formats. And everything looks good, so that means we're done. So don't forget to save all the settings with the green update button. And by the way, make sure you do this regularly while designing to avoid accidentally deleting anything, because then all the work has been done for nothing and that will be a waste of your time. Because I want to have the website completely in the same style, I'm now going to make a template of the homepage as a base for the other pages. And to create a template of the entire page with all the sections, columns and widgets, you can click on the triangle next to the update button in the bottom left menu. Then click on the Save as Template option and enter a name such as Template Home. Then you will immediately see that the template has been added under the My Templates tab. and now I click on the cross icon to close this window. And to create the next page, I go back to the WordPress dashboard by clicking on the icon at the top left of the left menu and then click on Exit to Dashboard. Now I click on the WordPress icon at the top left of the screen to go to the overview with all the pages. I'll start with the About Us page by clicking on Edit, and after the page is loaded, I'll click on the blue Edit with Elementor button. The first thing I'm going to do is change the settings of the page by clicking on the icon at the bottom left of the left menu. I set the page layout to Elementor full width. And now I want to import the homepage template, and to do that I click on the folder icon, and after that click on the My Templates tab and go to the template as you have saved it and click on Insert. At Import Document Settings at the pop-up you can click on Yes. So now you can see that the template is imported, and I just want to make a simple About Us page that only consists of one section, so I delete almost all the sections except for the last one. And you can delete a section just by clicking on the cross icon. The first thing I want to do is select the heading in the section and change the H2 tag to an H1 tag by clicking on it, and in the content tab change the HTML tag to H1. I do this because for SEO it's important to always have one H1 tag on the page. Now I want to change the background of the section to a solid color. So I select the section and go to the Style tab, and I delete the image by clicking on the trash can, and at the color option I select the white color. Now I go to the background overlay options and go to color, click on the color, and now click on this arrow icon to clear the settings. The next thing I want to do is remove the border at the top, so I go to the border options, and here I set solid back to none. Now I want to add another column by duplicating it, so I go to the gray square in the top left corner of the column and right click on it and select the duplicate option. And now I remove all widgets from the new column so that it's completely empty again. I want to add a new widget, so I go to the overview with the widgets, and there I choose the image widget. So I drag it into the column, and then I click on the gray box in the content tab to select an image from the media library. Click on the image you want to insert and fill in the fields. In this case I would do something like luxury watch brands About Us. And copy this text in all the fields and click on Insert Media. Now we see that the image has been added, and I also want to show you how to add a shadow border to an image. And to do this you can click on the image to select it and then go to the Style tab, and at the very bottom you can click on the icon at Box Shadow. If you set horizontal and vertical to 10 and the blur to 5, then you have a completely different effect, so you can play around with it and see what you like. Now I go to the button and I want to change the text to Contact Us by clicking on it and then change the text in the text field. On the Content tab you can enter the link for the contact page at the link options, which in this case is this URL. So now the button is ready, and now I'm going to change the text in the text editor widget above it. As an example, I use this dummy text, and you can just paste it into the field from the text editor. By clicking on the arrow on the left you can hide the menu and have a good look at the page. That looks okay, and now let's see how it looks on the tablet view. So I go to the icon at the bottom of the menu bar with the two screens and click on it, and now I go to the gray bar at the top on the screen and select the middle icon for the tablet view. Everything looks great on the tablet view, so now I select the mobile icon to switch over to the mobile view, and here I just want to add a little more space above the image. So I select the image and go to the Advanced tab, and then I click on the icon at margin, and at the top margin I enter 20 pixels, and now I switch back to the desktop view, and I also want to set the alignment of the text to the left, so I click on the text and then go to the Style tab, and there I select the left option. Now click on the green update button to save all the changes, and now we're done with the About Us page. I also want to save this page as a template to use for the contact page that we are going to create now. So again, click on the arrow next to the green update button and click on Save as Template. Enter a name for the template and then click on Save. We now see that the template has been added, so we can close this window again by clicking on the cross. And now I go back to the WordPress dashboard again by clicking the icon at the top left of the menu and then click on Exit to Dashboard. Now click on the WordPress icon and go to the contact page and click on Edit. And now you can click on the Edit with Elementor button. After the page is loaded, I click on the gear icon at the bottom left to adjust the settings, and I go to the layout option and I select the Elementor full width option. To import the About Us page template, you have to click on the folder icon and then go to the My Templates tab and click on Insert to add the template to the canvas. The first thing I'm going to do is change the About Us title to Contact by clicking on it and change the text. The button can be removed with the right mouse button and then click on Delete. I will now also delete the image with the right mouse button and click on Delete again. So now we see that this column is empty again, and I want to add a new widget to it, and that's the form widget. So I go to the overview with all the widgets, and then I drag the form widget into the empty column. Now I'm going to show you how to customize the form widget. I select the widget, and the first thing I do is disable the show option under label. This already makes the form looks a little better. At the top of the content tab, you will see the form field option. Here you can set which fields should be in the form. By default, name, email and message are already added. You can also set per field whether it should be a mandatory field by turning on the yes option. You can also remove fields by clicking the cross or add new fields by clicking on add item. If you do that, you will see at the type that text is selected, but you can also choose another option. For example, you can add a checkbox field with which you can easily create a list of items to check. You can just enter the text in the field and it will be added automatically. I will not go into too much detail about this in this tutorial, so I'll remove this field again by clicking on the cross, because the standard fields are more than enough for this form. At the options for buttons, you can adjust the text of the button if you want to, but I'll just leave it at send. Now go to the options for email, and here you can enter an email address in the field 2, where the information from the form should be sent over to after someone has filled it in and clicked on the send button. And in this field I use info@ and then the name of the website.com. In the subject field you see the title of the email as it is sent and how it will also appear in your inbox. By default, the information of all the fields that are added to the form will be sent over in the email, and you can optionally add some text if you want to do that. In the from email field you can indicate from which email address the form should be sent. You can also create a separate email for this. In another video I will explain how to create an email address in just 1 minute. For now I'll leave everything as it is and I'll move over to the additional options, and here you can optionally adjust all the messages that can be displayed. And that's also useful to know for if you want to adjust that. I'll leave everything as it is, but I just wanted to show you that. Now I go to the style tab, and here I'm going to adjust the styling a little bit. First I go to the options for field, and there I adjust the color to black. Then I go to typography and I adjust the font to rubric, and I set the weight to 300. Then I go to the options for buttons, and at typography I also set the font rubric with a size of 15. Then I set the weight to 600, and at transform I choose the option uppercase. Now I change the color of the button at the background color option to black, and after that I go to the hover options, and there I select the green color that I have also used for the other buttons for the website. Now I want to move the form down a little bit so that it aligns better with the text. So I go to the Advanced tab and then click on the icon at margin so that I can fill in all the fields separately, and I enter 50 pixels at the top margin. Now I'm going to see if I need to make any adjustments on the tablet and mobile view to make this page fully responsive. So I open the responsive mode by clicking on the icon at the bottom and then select the tablet view. Here we can remove the space at the top of the form by clicking on the margin icon, which resets the values to 0. To get the form a little higher, you can also use the top margin by setting, for example, to -50. Now we continue to mobile view, and here we also set the values of margin back to 0 by clicking on the icon. Everything looks good now, so we save the changes by clicking on the green update button at the bottom of the page. So now the page is completely done, and now I'm quickly going to show you the pages that I have made in a different browser tab as how a regular visitor would see the website. So I have opened an incognito browser tab, and I first go to the home page, and let's take a look at the different sections. And all the sections turned out really nice, so I'm happy about that. And now let's have a look at the About Us page. And it's a simple page, but it also looks pretty clean, so that's okay. And if I now click on the button, it will send you over to the contact page where we have this contact form set up. So everything is working properly. And this is also the end of this tutorial. Remember that the complete website will be available to download for free once I have finished this website completely, so you can just import it and don't have to manually do all the settings. But I hope you learned something new from watching this tutorial, and it helps you to get a good understanding of the whole process on how to build and design a modern and fully responsive website. In the next video I'll show you how to set up blog posts for your website. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again in the next video. Leave your comments in the comment section, and if you have any questions, make sure to drop them in the comments as well. Also make sure to check out my other tutorials. Thanks again, and I hope you have a nice day.